Hi everybody, I wanted to talk about a complicated subject today that a lot of people have questions on. What type of heating system should I put into my house? So this is something a lot of people are changing their heating systems over to heat pumps, and that's not always the best option. So let's go through the different options you have and think about the best way to decide what's good for your home. So one thing to consider is what types of fuels are available. Not every house has natural gas as an option, and you might need to switch to something like propane or oil if that's not something that you can have. So the first restriction to think about is what options you have. The second thing to think about is efficiency. So obviously, the more efficient the system, the better. As far as heat pumps go, those are a great replacement for if you have old electrical baseboard heaters. Those are just 100% efficient. So if you use 100 kilowatts of energy, that's what you get in heat. A heat pump actually moves heat, so you can get greater than 100% efficiency. So, you might be able to pull warmth out of the air, and if you're using 100 kilowatts of energy, you can get more than 100 kilowatts in heat. So that's why heat pumps are so popular. The other consideration is the fuel costs. Electricity, unfortunately, isn't that inexpensive. You can't just think about how efficient it is, you need to think about the cost of that fuel. You're still using 100 kilowatts. It may be less expensive to burn oil, even if you're only getting 80 to 90% efficiency out of that oil. It's still, the cost of the fuel itself could be much cheaper, and that's why some of electric-based systems can be expensive to run. One thing to think about is the type of house you have. So if you have a brand new, tightly insulated home, having an efficient heat pump that can modulate up and down might be a good option, because you're keeping that heat in your house for so long. Your house is already fairly efficient, and that 85-degree heat coming out of the system might be sufficient for that type of building. If you have an old drafty home, let's say you have a 1800s big home with uninsulated wall, you may consider something like steam heat. That's probably what's in the building, and that heat gets really hot and stays hot, so it may be a more efficient option for a really inefficient home. Most of us are somewhere in between. We have kind of okay insulation to somewhat crummy, but at least the walls and attic are insulated. So for most homes, the best option is going to be something that maybe has different ways of heating. As an example, you can get a gas-fired furnace that can do heating and cooling, and outside, instead of putting a standard air conditioner, you can put a heat pump air conditioner. And that way, if it's 45, 50 degrees outside, you can actually use the heat pump to heat your home, which is going to be a very efficient option in those circumstances. And then if it's below 30, you can use the natural gas and burn gas, which is going to do a better job keeping up with a large demand. And so that's probably the best option for most homes, is having multiple ways to heat your home depending on the circumstances. And that, unfortunately, is not going to get you as many rebates as doing a straight heat pump system, because you're still burning a fossil fuel. The advantage to this is if you get, say, 10 grand in heat pump rebates, you're going to end up using that in the first few years in added fuel costs. So in the long run, this is still going to be the best type of system. The best thing to do is to hire a really good qualified heating technician to come out, go through your home. There's different calculations they should be doing, like a manual J calculation to figure out how much heat your house needs, and a manual D calculation to figure out how your distribution system's going to perform, and then they can prescribe the best system for your home and what size demand you're going to have. The other important thing is to hire a heating technician that not only is knowledgeable and trustworthy, but also sells different types of heating systems. If you hire someone that just sells heat pumps, they're going to sell you a heat pump. So this might not be the best option for your home. So consider hiring someone that has multiple tools in their tool belt to give you the best possible solution for your home. And if you have any general questions or you want more information on the topic or on your home, please reach out. Thank you.